Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today I'm doing a tutorial on this Sunburst Granny Square. This one, as you can see, is in 2 colours. So you can do it all one colour, or you could do a different colour for every row, which is quite nice. You can do things like different colours for the flower, and then you can end up with something that looks like a sunflower or a daisy. But for this one, I'm just doing the 2 colours. The yarn I'm using is an 8-ply acrylic. This one is 4 Seasons Marvel from Spotlight. If you're in Australia, you'll be familiar with Spotlight. The colour for the centre part is cream. And the colour I'm using for the background is Laguna. You'll also need a crochet hook. Today I'm using a 5mm hook. You could use a 4mm hook, which is what is recommended on the yarn, or you could use a 4.5, a 6mm. It doesn't matter too much, I find. So if you have a different size hook, don't stress too much, just whatever you're comfortable using. It can change the size of your square a little bit if that's a concern, but 4 to 5mm should be adequate. I've also got a pair of scissors here, and of course my trusty cup of tea. Today I've got an Earl Grey. So if you'd like to grab yourself some yarn, a hook, some tea, and we'll get started. So this one starts from the center and we work our way out. So we're going to be starting with our cream center color. Starting with a slip knot. I know there's lots of little complicated ways to make slip knots, but I tend to just grab the yarn, flip it over, tuck the tail in, and pull it through. Popping my hook in there and tightening it up. We're going to start with a ring, so however you like to make your ring. I like to do a chain 4, and then slip stitch into the first chain to make a ring. If you like to do a magic ring, you could do a magic ring too. However you like to start in a round. And we're going to be putting 16 double crochets into the center of this ring. So I should also note I'll be using US terms. So a US double, I think, is a UK single crochet. So if you're using UK terms, I'll let you do the translation for that. So to start, we need to get to the height of a double crochet. Some people do a chain 2, and that gets you up to the height, and then you can keep going with the double crochets. I like to do this standing crochet, which I'm not even sure if this is the proper way to do this. I only started crocheting about a year ago. So if there's anything that I say in this video that you do differently, or I'm doing a bit funny, then that's totally fine. However you're used to doing it is all good. I'm just showing how I make these squares. So I start with a double crochet, a standing double crochet. So I like to pull up the loop a little longer, so that kind of double crochet height. And then hold that onto the hook with my finger, turn my hook around, yarn over, pull the loop kind of underneath. So then I end up with these 2 loops on my hook, and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. And that's how I do my standing double crochet. Again, I'm not sure if that's the official way to do it, but it's been working fine for me. I do that because I don't love the look of a chain to start, and I prefer the look of this. So that's how I'm just going to start. So we're going to do 15 more double crochets into the center. So yarning over, putting my hook through the center, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through the last 2. Ooh, if I can get through this, getting stuck. Also pull out any cat fur that appears. If you've got cats in your house like I do, that's a constant thing, pulling cat fur out. Okay, let's keep going with our double crochets. Yarn over into the center of the ring, pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'm just going to make my way around until I have 16 stitches all together. I'm also going to go over my tail as I go. Whoop, do that one again. Okay, I'm just going to count where I'm up to since I've filled up the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, isn't that the first thing you learn in crochet is, do you think you can count? No, you can't. All right, so I'm on 12. 13. You notice I also just squish these around to make space. 14. 15, the last one. 16. Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So the reason we do 16 is because it's divisible by 4, and you'll need it to be divisible by 4 to make the square when we get up to that part. If you only have, say, 15 double crochets here, it won't work out when you get to making it the square, to this background area. Okay, I'm going to join into the top of my standing double crochet, my first stitch. If you did a chain, you would join into the top of the chain. If I can get my hook through there. There we go. With a slip stitch, so pulling through and then just pulling through that loop. Cool, so there's our first round done. Next round we'll be doing a puff stitch, so these stitches here. So for that, again, you can do a chain 2 to begin. I tend to just pull the loop long and start that way. So for the puff stitch, we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to go into the, you can go into the top of this stitch here, but I like the look of it better when I go into, I guess this is the slip stitch. So I'm going to go into this little stitch here. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and just pull it up, like do a little wiggle wiggle to pull it up long. Yarn over, go into that same stitch again, so that's 2. Wiggle wiggle, and then one more, yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop. So we've done that 3 times. And then you'll end up with, I think it's 7 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, once you have 7 loops on your hook, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 7. That might take a little wiggling through. It can be a bit tricky to pull your hook through sometimes. And if it gets a bit stuck, just undo it, do it again. There's no drama. So now we're going to do chain 2. And do the next puff stitch. So the next puff stitch I'm doing into the top of this stitch here. So this one's kind of as if it was in the top of this first stitch. We're moving on to the next double crochet, and the top of that double crochet is here. So yarn over, going into that stitch, pull up a loop, wiggle wiggle, yarn over, going into the same stitch, pull up a loop, wiggle wiggle, one more time, yarn over, into the stitch, pull up a loop, wiggle wiggle, and then yarn over, pull through all 7 loops on the hook. So the wiggle wiggle helps with being able to pull it through at the end. If you do it really tight, it becomes really tricky. So from here we're going to chain 2 and then continue all the way around, putting a puff stitch into the top of every double crochet. 1, 2, 3 times into the same stitch, wiggle, wiggle, yarn over, pull through, chain 2. And if you drop your loop at any point, like I just did, sometimes you can salvage it, just pull it through. I think I must have split my yarn. I'm going to do that one again. So that's what is really nice about crochet as well, is it's really easy to undo and redo. So if you feel like you've made a mistake or it's gone a bit tricky, just undo it to like a nice checkpoint and then go again. Okay, I'm coming up to my last stitch. Okay, I'm going to double check I have 16 puff stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch in this gap. So putting my hook into that gap, yarn over, pull through, pull up a loop and then pull through that loop, slip stitch. So there's second round done. Must be time for a sip of tea. Okay, and then for the next round, the last round of the center portion is a bobble stitch. So these ones here, or a cluster stitch, I think they're also called. So to start our cluster stitch, I'm going to do a standing double crochet again, but you could do a chain 2 like this. I'm going to do that little funky standing double crochet. So I'm going to pull my loop up long, hold on with my finger, turn my hook over to pull up a loop, kind of go under, back through, and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. And that's how I'm going to start. Okay, for the cluster or the bobble stitch, we're going to do, there's 4 stitches in each cluster, so that counts as our first one. And then I'm going to yarn over, go into the gap between the puff stitches, pull up a loop, some extra yarn here. And then I'm going to yarn over and pull through only 2 of those loops and then stop. yarn over, go into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops only. Oops. And then stop. And then one more, we've got 3 so far. Yarn over, go into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I have 4 stitches on my hook. For this very first one, you'll also have 4 loops on your hook. That will change for the next ones. I'll show you when we get there. But for this first one, we've got 4 stitches and 4 loops. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all 4 of those loops, and that creates our little bobble stitch. Chain 2 in between each one, and then we're moving on to the next space. So yarn over, go into that gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then stop. Go again, yarn over, into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, stop, yarn over, into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 only, and then one more time, yarn over, into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So this time we do have 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 5 loops on our hook because we started with one on our hook. I think that's how that works. It's just a different way when we start. So now that we have 5 loops, we're going to yarn over and pull through all 5. But every time you should have 4 of these kind of, it's not even a half double, it's like you half did a double crochet, but not to be confused with a half double crochet. Okay, chain 2. I hope that makes sense. Does your brain work like mine? So we're going to work our way all the way around into the gaps between the puff stitches with a chain 2 in between. So the next one, yarn over into this gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 only, yarn over into the gap, pull up a loop, go through 2, yarn over into the gap, pull through 2, one more. And now that I have 5 loops on my hook and 4 stitches, we're going to yarn over, pull through all, and then chain 2. So just keep making your way around. Sometimes the muscle memory kicks in here if you're used to doing a lot of double crochets, and you'll end up doing a double crochet here. So that will be the thing to fight, I think, or for some people, is just going through the 2 loops and then doing the next stitch and not kind of completing it. Oops. You might have noticed I'm also doing a center pull on my yarn. I like to do a center pull to save my ball of yarn rolling all over the place, but it can be tricky to get started. Hopefully this one today was pretty easy, which is really nice. Let me know, are you a center pull person, or do you just go from the outside of the ball? That did not sound good. That's what she said. I'm sorry, Mom. All right. Where are we up to? 1, 2, 3. See what happens when I'm talking? I did too many stitches. Or did I? 1, 2, 3. Maybe I didn't. Oh, can you hear my cat in the background? She agrees. Hi, Willow. Okay, last one. Okay, so chain 2 after the last bubble stitch. Let's just do a quick count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hooray. So I'm going to join again between the gap between the bubble stitches. So just slip stitch. And then to finish this off, I do another little chain. It's a habit I've gotten into. I don't know if you're supposed to or not, but I like to lock it up with a chain, and then I'm going to trim. So leave a bit of a tail that we can weave in later on. Let's just pull that through. So that will get, I'm actually going to weave it in as we go when I do the background, which I'll show you in a second. But this center one, you'll need to weave in later on with a needle, or you can use the hook to kind of pull through if you've got a smaller crochet hook. Okay, if you find that your sunburst is kind of all curled up like this, that's fine. Usually you can just sort of pull it, flatten it out, maybe put it down on a table, flatten it out, and it'll be happy. If you find it's very tight, that could be your tension was really tight, so try to loosen it up a little bit, or you might like to use a larger hook. But if everything's fairly okay, you should end up with something like this. So we're going to start with our background. Let's take another sip of tea. Tea break, everyone. So I'm going to start with my background color, this lovely Laguna blue. This one isn't a center, well, it is a center pull, but I'll be pulling from the outside because I actually frogged something and just wound it round. So that's why it's all a bit scrappy, but that's okay. So we're going to join our background color. If you have a way you like to join other colors, go for it. I'm just going to go into, so where this tail is, I'm going into the next gap, pulling through a little loop, just holding with my fingers, and then I pull both ends over and do a little stitch like that. If you only go through the working yarn, then go for that. However you like to join your color. Some people put a slip knot and the loop onto their hook and then do it that way, but that's just the way I've been joining. So I'm going to start with a chain 3 because we're starting with a treble crochet. And I know I had a little ramble before about not liking starting with a chain or the look of it, but I don't know how to do a standing treble. If someone wants to show me, please do. But I haven't figured it out yet, so I'm just going to do a chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to pull my tail a little bit tighter to make sure that's joined really nicely. So we're starting in the corner here. So I'm going to start, or is it here? Let me muscle memory this until we get going. So I'm going to do 2 more treble crochets. I'm also going over my tail. So for a treble crochet, we're going to yarn over twice, go into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 2. And that's our treble crochet. Then I'm going to do that again, yarn over twice, into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I think I am going to do the full corner. So I'm just going to shuffle those over and then do a chain 2 for my corner. And then we're going to do 3 more treble crochets into the same space. If you are used to doing this differently, like you want to do half of the corner and then when you come back around you do the other half, go for it. If you like to start your grannies in a different place, then do that, whatever you're used to doing or you're comfortable doing. But I'm going to start with a full corner. And for my tail, I'm going to kind of weave this in as I go by folding this over, creating this loop. And I'll show you when we get up to here, you can secure it and then that's kind of weaved in your end for you, which I think Hooked by Robin does. She makes brilliant YouTube videos. I think that's where I got that from. Okay, so holding down my looped tail, yarn over twice, into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then do that 2 more times. Oh, my tail's just flipped over. I'm just going to pull it back. Okay, so now I've got 3, that first chain counts as a stitch, 3 treble crochets, 2 chain, and 3 double crochets. And the way we're making this into a square shape from a circle is in the corner you have these longer stitches, longer treble crochets, then a double crochet, then a half double crochet, then we go back to a double crochet and then trebles here. So we've got these longer stitches in the corners and shorter stitches making our way to the side, and that's what creates the square shape from our corner, like magic. It is cool. I think it's cool. Alright, let's get some more yarn up here. So in the next gap, I'm going to do 3 double crochets and making sure to go over my little tail loop. I also don't do a chain in between the clusters if that's what you're used to doing. For this one, I don't. It doesn't seem necessary. It doesn't need that extra space. So we're just jumping straight into the next gap. So yarn over once, into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 for our double crochet, and then 2 more of those in the same space. Cool. And then our next space we're doing 3 half double crochets. So yarn over, go into the gap, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Do that 2 more times, yarn over, into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go into the space, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's our half double. So now we're in the middle of our first side. And we're going to make our way to the next corner. So in the next space we're doing 3 double crochets. And in the space after that, we're doing 3 trebles to start our corner. chain 2 for our corner little space, and then you might need to pull these stitches around to make space for our 3 more trebles. Okay, so now you can see we've got our first side and our 2 corners are done. So we're just going to do the same thing till we get back to where we started. So I'm continuing on with a double crochet in the next space. 2 more of those. Oh, need some more yarn. And then 3 half doubles in the next space. Three doubles. And then we're up to the next corner now, so 3 trebles. See, this is why I don't like pulling yarn from the outside. Such a first world problem. Like, I don't like when it rolls over. Anyway. It's also really nice on the train. I tend to crochet on the train a fair bit, and a center pull is much more appropriate on the train than having your ball of yarn rolling all over the floor or off the chair, off the seat, into your neighbour's feet or something. Okay, 2 sides are done. So I'm just going to keep doing the same thing until we're back where we started. And if you're like me, when I'm watching a YouTube tutorial, I feel like I should say, I'll race ya. See if you can beat me. I also kind of want to speed this up for the sake of the tutorial as well. So it's not a super long video. Of course, you can always pause or fast forward or rewind as you need to. Or you can change the playback speed as well. Okay, when I get to the last side, this is when I go over the tail from the sunburst part. So I'm going to loop this over and do 1 stitch over the top and then fold that back. So now there's this looped, the tail is looped around. And then for the rest of the side, I'm going over both strands of that tail. Okay, I'm up to the last gap now. If you get to here and you realize you've got an extra gap or you're missing a space, like you come to do your last 3 double crochets, but there isn't a gap, it probably means you've doubled up somewhere along the way. So for me, I usually accidentally do 2 half double crochet clusters in a row and then go back and undo it. So just if you end up with a weird amount when you get to the end, just flatten your square out and have a look that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches on each side, 5 clusters on each side. And if you don't, that means you've doubled up or skipped something somewhere. If you're all good, we're going to join with a slip stitch in the top of that first chain, or if you did a standing stitch, then in the top of that standing stitch. Some people join in the chain just by going through the center of the chain, but I like to go through both sides because to me that feels like more equivalent to the top of a stitch. If you just go through the center of the chain, to me that's like just going through the back loop, which feels weird in my brain. I don't know why. Anyway, however you like to join. Alright, so we've got our first round of background done. If it needs a bit of a flatten out, go for it. Oh, my cat's come to have a look too. Hi Willow, what do you think? Is it good? Yeah? Do you think I can keep going? Don't hop up on here, my love. Thank you. I can see it, she wants to jump on the table so bad. So for the next rounds, we'll be doing all double crochets. So for the next row or next round, it's all double crochets for however big you want to make your square. So this one, I've got 3 more rounds. You can do however many you need to do for the size that you're after. So for the tutorial, I'll just do 1 round showing the double crochets, and then you can keep going for however much longer you want to. Or you could stop here. You don't need to make it bigger than this even. You could stop here and just have like a baby square. But I will show the next part to show how you can make this bigger and bigger. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Willow. Am I interrupting your afternoon? Oh, very serious. Can you hear her meowing? Okay, let's keep going with our double crochets. Actually, let me find her a toy she can play with. There's something in here. Do you want to play with this? Okay, off she goes. So to start this, I want to get into the corner. I want to start at the corner. So to get there, I'm going to slip stitch my way over. So I'm going to put my hook into the top of this stitch, pull through, the next one do the same thing, and then into the corner spaces where we'll do a slip stitch. Maybe it was not a good idea for me to give my cat a loud toy right now. If you hear ridips, that's why. Okay, and then we're going to start in our corner with a double crochet. So I'm going to do that funky standing double crochet. If you want to chain 2, you can do a chain 2, but I'm going to do this holding the loop, flipping it over, yarn over, tuck it back through, and then yarn over, pull through those 2 loops. And that's going to be my first stitch. We're going to do 2 more doubles. So that's the first part of the corner, chain 2, and then 3 more doubles into that same space to finish the corner. So there's our first corner. And then we're going to work our next 3 double crochets into the space between these clusters. So that one, sometimes they're really close. If you go from the bubble stitch and then wiggle that space open a bit more, we're going to put 3 double crochets. Same thing into the next space between these clusters, 3 double crochets. We always try to get back up again. Do you want to sit up here? Okay, let's let her explore. At least she's not trying to play with my yarn. If you hear jingling, it's really playing with her toys, just off screen. Okay, I'm up to the corner, so 3 double crochets into the corner. Then a chain 2 and 3 more doubles into that same space. And that's our first side done. So just continue in the same way, finding the space between these clusters and doing 3 double crochets in each gap. And this is kind of the most meditative part, I find, because you're just doing the same stitch over and over again. So you don't really have to keep track of what kind of stitch you're doing or where. You're just doing 3 double crochets and then 3 more double crochets and then a chain 2 in the corner. Although one of the reasons I do like this square over just a plain granny square, apart from it looks really nice, but the actual making of it, I like that this center part has some difference. So we're starting with doubles, then we do a puff, then we do a bobble, and then there's like different stitches. Hi baby girl. Different stitches for the square, so that keeps it interesting as opposed to a granny square which is just all double crochets, or some other squares that are just all the same stitch over and over again. At least this one has a little bit of difference, a little bit of, not a challenge, but something to occupy your brain. Willow will not be ignored. Excuse me, my love, can I drop you down here, please? I know. What else can I throw to her? How about this one? So yeah, I find like it's a good mix of some different things and then some same things, and it looks really nice. And it's not too complicated. So I find it's a good balance. Okay, I'm coming up to my last little cluster. And then when you come to the end, join into the top of that first chain or your first stitch. If your first stitch was a standing double crochet, that is. Although I'm not sure it matters too much where you join, because after that you're just going to slip stitch to the corner anyway to keep going. So I'm going to stop the tutorial here. It's everything you need to know. And if you wanted to keep going making bigger, you're just doing the same thing again. So 3 double crochets in each space with the 3 in the corner, then a chain 2 and a 3 in the corner. And then if you keep going, you can end up with a bigger square, or you can make it as big as you like. You can change colors, whatever you like to do for your square. So for this one, it's actually smaller than what I want the finish to be, because I'm making a blanket out of these, and I'm going to do join as you go to join them all together. And when you do that, it adds another row. So if you were going to do join as you go to join them together, which you can look up other tutorials for that, then do 1 row less than you want the finished size to be. I can show you in other videos if you like to see the other squares that I'm working on for this blanket. I've got some other videos up, not a tutorial style, more of a crochet with me kind of style, full length videos, no cuts, no edits, no filters, just a real person with real hands making a thing out of yarn, which I think is really nice now. I feel like these days there's a lot of fast content. If it doesn't have your attention in half a second, then your brain can't handle it. So I'm trying to bring some more slow content into the world and creating these longer length videos without snappy cuts and things. So if you like that kind of style, if you just like having something on in the background, definitely check out my other videos, and you'll see more of this blanket being created, which is for a local business called the Creative Fringe in Penrith in Western Sydney, Australia. They're running their annual blanket challenge called TOTS, which stands for Think Outside the Square. And all their blankets and squares, you can donate a whole blanket or just 20 centimetre squares, and they get made into blankets that are then donated to local charities and people in need around the place. And it's lots of fun just creating, but it's also very nice that that's going to a worthy cause and to people who are really in need of a blanket, especially coming into the winter months here in Australia. So if that's something you're interested in, I will pop all the information in the description below, along with the yarn I've used, the hook I've used. This one's from Kmart. I'll pop my tea in the description. And if you have any questions or feedback or comments, please let me know in the comments below or shoot me an email. And I hope you enjoy this tutorial. If you have any questions, or if there's something I didn't explain as well, or you'd like to see again, please let me know. I'm happy to explain further. I'll also love to see anything that you're working on. So if you do make a little Sunburst Granny Square, I'd love to see it. And any other little crochet projects you're working on, I'm always happy to see what people are creating. So I'll leave this video here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope this was helpful and that you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.